Alright, welcome back everyone to 9 Years of Shadows, episode 11. Um, in our previous episode, we got up to 99% completion, got to the final boss. We're missing one blue note, and I actually have a theory about where it is, because I was thinking back over, like, were there any places where like I tried to jump and I like couldn't get there or something? And I vaguely remember that in the beginning area somewhere. I honestly don't remember exactly where. I don't fully understand what's going on this area. It says that there's a bunch of like rooms to the side and I'm just not seeing them. So maybe that'll change once we have 100%. Um, but I remember there being one of the in a fairly early room, and I was like, oh, this is clearly like a future ability thing. And then like I never went back to that room. So I'm hoping how quickly I fell there. I felt like I fell faster than I normally do. Does Earth fall faster? Possible to tell. What we're gonna do is run over here just a little bit and see if we can spot where it was. And hopefully that's it. But by the way, I did also just while I was out and about, I did look up hey, where's the developer from? They're from Guadalajara. So um that not here. This is one of the blue notes. So yeah, English second language, which does explain some of the like slightly weird word choices. Not not to the extent where like I thought like oh definitely English second language. Just enough like little oddities that I was like, huh, I wonder. Not here. Maybe this room? This room feels right. Yeah, here we go. This was the missing one, and I think this is our final blue note. Now I just need to get back. I'm at 6 of one, have a dozen the other. Rent on through. I don't think, like we were talking about previous episode, I don't think that this is gonna be like make all that appreciable a difference. It's gonna be a little more energy, a tiny bit more buffer for me to make mistakes. Um, but not like this is not like an extra heart or anything like that. I think that the thing that really is like holding me back here is just need to get good. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Honed Edge. Upgrade your light bar to the maximum. So as far as I know, that means that we are now maximum everything. That is right there, 100% completion. And let's actually check that by saving Actually, you know what? We're going to save at the top because we're going to have to go to the save point there anyways. We're going to save and then pop out to the main menu and see, hey, is that everything? I'm relatively confident that it will be. Slightly mystifying choice to be like, hey, here's just a bunch of climbing that you're gonna have to do to get to the final boss. Like, not that mystifying. Like, I'm sure that the thought process here was, hey, these people helped make this possible. They deserve to be recognized for their efforts and all that. You know, their investment. But come on. Assuming that I am right about these being backers, not just a choice. I would be very surprised if this is not backers, though. Right, there we go. Game saved, and now let's pop out to the main menu. I keep going the wrong direction here. %101%. This game does have greater than 100% completion. That's interesting. I'm a little surprised by that because this is version 1.0.98. So like the 9.8 would be, you know, minor bug fixes and stuff. I wouldn't think there would be greater than 100% until version 1.1. But okay, it is what it is, I guess. Alright, so unfortunately, first run's probably going to be a little bit rough because it has been like a full day, as you can tell by the wardrobe change. But I believe in us. Got fresh hands, got fresh eyes, got max stats. We know the strat for the first 3 forms. Oh yeah, I forgot about how we have to jump. Alright. This is a fairly rough start to it. Quite rough start. Alright, that's our first pip down. Second pip down. Oof. third pip down. When did we lose our third pip? Alright, well. Oof. I am curious as to what this fight would be like. Without the upgraded Radiance suit. Alright, so at least we got through phases 1 through 3. Not that I'm feeling particularly confident about this phase, but, you know, maybe. Okay, I think that the triangle is just like a warning that it's coming. So if I play it, you know, safe, not like that. Not like that. Okay, so I think that if I play it safe, I should be able to get through this phase. I just have to not play as aggressive. There's no reason for me to be playing as aggressively as I have been on that phase. Once again, punished by the cutscene that initially was radical, but now is too many times. It's amazing how that works. Oh, this is really cool. I'm watching it a second time, hate it. Watching it a 10th time, hate it so much. I think I need to figure out a better way of handling the X attack. I chose wrong. I thought that one of them was gonna... There, like, it's lost a pip. Because I don't have a good strategy for doing it. There's another pip. Gosh, I'm a little tempted to cancel this run and just go on to the next. Yeah, I just made a stupid mistake jumping into that circle. Okay, okay, that was oof. That was a particularly bad run. Entirely on my part. There was no there like there's a little bit of RNG to this about like, which weapons he chooses to use and whatever, but no, like that's it comes down to me playing poorly. So it is what it is. That sort of worked. Could have gone better, but eh. Dang it. Okay, we're getting better about that one. Okay, phase 2 without losing any health. Perfect, phase 3 without losing any health. Hello? Damn it. Shit. Oh. Guess this is a viable place to be? I'm a little shocked that this works. This feels like it shouldn't. Alright. This is as good an entry into fourth phase as we're gonna get. trying to play it a little safer here. I've lost a pip. Scripted death? Stop, Apino. I understand now. I understand why I can't kill you, why you're angry. All you've ever known is pain and misery, and I tried to kill you by adding to it. It only made you stronger. I'm such a fool. But this isn't all you are, Apino. I know your heart. Have no heart. Yes, you do, Apino. Skipped a line there. Alright. Sweet. Apino, I'm sorry for what happened to you. And I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry for everything. Sweet. It's okay. I'm not afraid to die anymore. I'm just glad you're here. Sweet. I love you too. With the source of the curse destroyed, light and color slowly returned. And with them, hope. After 9 years, the shadow began to dispel. Talos and its inhabitants were freed from the darkness. Some still carried scars from the curse. Others never returned. When I came to this castle, I barely cared if I lived or died. I just wanted to be free from the curse, one way or another. I was just like you, know? I wanted to confront the darkness, but I wasn't ready. I couldn't do it alone. Needed the journey we went on together. Part of me wishes that we could leave our sorrow behind, so the loss would never sting again. But we must carry it with us. The memories, painful though they are, to us, to the ones we loved, I really thought there was going to be one more line there. No, kind of left that hanging. Sorry. Albert Studios. You know what? Good on you. Oh yeah, and you can, looking at these names, you're like, oh yeah, these are definitely Guadalajara names. That was not a perfect game, but basically no games are. In fact, I would say, not basically, no game is perfect. And you guys put a noble effort into this one. There's a lot that I liked about this game. The all right. So let's talk about what worked and what didn't, and like what of that is probably more generally true for a wider audience, and what of that is particular to me. Um, Controls were solid. I did feel like she was snappy. I was in control of her. You know, swinging the halberd around while I was running felt good. Um, the form abilities, such that they did work. They felt fine. Like switching into the swimming mode while you're in the water suit. Good stuff. The biggest misstep with the abilities was the like when you're in midair, pressing down to like a ground pound attack thing. That never clicked for me. I was always just kind of like mashing my way through the handful of places that was called upon, which does kind of bring us to one of the problems. The game like will give you an ability that you need. Okay, yeah, here's Kickstarter backers. The game gives you abilities and puts like puzzles in front of you, but there's not a whole lot to like incentivize you to go back and use abilities. The one blue note at the beginning of this episode that I went and got is probably like the biggest example of, hey, you need to like remember that this was a thing and go back to it once you've got this ability. I wouldn't be surprised if that blue note is probably like the least collected blue note in the entire game. On the topic of backtracking, like I did a decent amount of backtracking in this game just because that's who I am. That's why I play Metroidvanias. I like backtracking, what the genre is known for. I don't think that I needed to do as much backtracking as I did. I wasn't so gung ho on like getting upgrades and like maxing out my gear. The game is really more linear than it looks. You can really see that inside of the portraits, inside of the painting dungeons. They were very like go through this little gauntlet to get to the end, with the exception of the third one. The third one, the fire one, go through it and then you go through it backwards, which I liked. I thought that was cool. Recontextualize the environments you've been in by changing one thing, in this case at a meteor shower. That worked for me. I do think if the paintings were to be just straight up exits out, still at 101% completion. So having the game, having the paintings arranged as they were and not having like a hub room, to me made it feel a little, they weren't so much like exploring a space as it was doing a video game level. Similarly, in the main game, in the main map, let's actually pull it up. The map, we have a fast travel system with the elevators, and that is, very vertical. So like, you can go, and I don't have a with this. So there's an elevator to here. And here, and here. That's all, that's a lot of options for us vertically. But if you need to get, say, here, which is where one of the optional bosses is, well, your best bet is to either go here and run all the way over this way, or to take the elevator to here and run all the way over this way. In either case, you're doing basically a quarter of the world. Like, that is a very long trek to get over sideways. And similarly, like this optional boss, best way to get to them, go to this one, run over, and oh no, we should probably save. Closest save to this optional boss, I think, is this. You can make an argument for this one, but from here all the way up, over, down, over. Like, this is remote. This is a pain. Even more so with this one. And again, like the save problem, like this boss, when I fought this boss right here, I saved right here. We can barely even have both of those rooms on screen at the same time. They're so far apart. But it was easier to just ride a current all the way up this entire quarter of the map and then go over than it was to save here and run through these rooms. So that's not the worst thing, but it's not ideal. Something that I would, if it was me, what I would do, make a second separate fast travel system that lets you move between theaters. Have, like, you know, back room, corridor, whatever, theater access chutes. I don't care how you justify it, but let us fast travel directly between theaters. That would, one, give us a lot of lateral fast traveling ability, which we need. We need a way to get here from here, right? And it would help explain in universe, like, why is the orchestra that we save present in all of those rooms? What's up with that? It's weird to me that I still have some, like, enemies that I never fought, considering how much backtracking I did. And I don't feel like I was, like, avoiding enemies or anything like that. Which sort of brings us to my next point. I realize that in terms of transitions, that was terrible, but the enemies, you don't have a ton of reason to interact with the enemies. Like, obviously they're trying to kill you, so kill them first. But it's not like they're dropping items that you particularly want. They drop some gold, but, like, I've got 1,000 gold on me that I have no use for. And that was true, I think, for basically the whole game. Like, I got to the end of the first area and I had like 200 gold on me and couldn't get any upgrades. And I was like, the next thing that we do, we're gonna, like, find a merchant to, like, spend this gold with. And that just never happened. We spent a trivial amount of gold with our blue notes and red notes, and that was it. Like, we did not use the gold elsewhere, which felt like a mistake. I guess we did also use it with the armor upgrades, but regardless, the gold was never a limiting factor, so we didn't need to be breaking pots and killing enemies for it, and that kind of removed the incentive for interacting with enemies. While we're in the bestiary, I love that there is a bestiary. Bestiary, good. Also, I do appreciate that this has, like, in addition to, like, a little bit of lore on here, it's actually got some, like, gameplay utility information, telling us what the weakness is, what element they are. I don't think... I think the pairings are always the same. I would have to, like, scan through this. But, like, if you're a fire element, then your weakness is water. Fire, water. Fire, water. Fire, water. Fire, water. So it's a little bit... If you know one, you know the other. The most interesting in terms of elements... I could really use a fast scroll here. have. The most interesting enemy in the game in terms of elements was Aelzel here, who had chess pieces that were of different elements. Um, that one actually had us like rotating what armor we were wearing, what elements we were using in the fight. You know, it was pretty hectic, but felt doable. Like you could anticipate it, especially considering that he was doing valid chess moves, which I thought was a super cool detail. That was the fight that felt the most like the game was taking advantage of its own type system. Let's talk about the bosses a little bit while we're in it. Most of these bosses I quite liked. There were a few that felt a bit, generic. Like the first one, the Dwarven Guard, the dude with a hammer. The game's not gonna throw like a super complicated boss at you at the start. Ulf was actually like decently tough, I felt like, and I think that was just because it was early game and we didn't really have much in the way of beefing up or anything. But the bosses kind of felt like they got like there was a slightly weird curve there where a lot of them actually felt like they got easier. Like when I fought EC and Limo here, steamrolled them almost by accident. The Gear of Erebus, first try on him. Renai's, I think, took me 3 tries or 4 tries. I forget. It didn't take me many. So, it is what it is. But in general, good fights. I like the way that this game gives you like really readable patterns, and you need to dodge them and like counterattack where you can. It's good. It's good stuff. I do think that bosses were a highlight of this game. Learning Miria took me a little while. All that stuff. Final boss, maybe a bit of a difficulty spike. It is what it is. I want to talk about abilities. So this game did do something that I consider to be a little bit of a cardinal sin, which is like, especially when we got the like radiant armor, it was just like, hey man, here's 4 things all at once, and that's too much at once. It is okay to give like, hey, you got a chunk of armor, you're gonna run through this like trial to unlock all of it. That's okay, you can do that. But like getting a dump that's like, hey, you got the ability, you can hit enemies with this stuff. Also, there's a dash ability that was almost like an afterthought. Like I straight up didn't register, like I didn't absorb that it was a thing. Because I was still reeling from, oh my god, like I don't have my directional attack anymore. That's a pretty big deal. That could have, I think that could have been smoothed out a little bit, like a little bit of a second pass on just like, hey, let's stick some rooms in here. Let us like pick up the pieces of the armor strewn throughout the level, and that way the text can be separated out a little bit and the player has a chance to absorb it better than just like, hey, here's an info dump, good luck. Speaking of things being strewn throughout the world, so I think that the thing that would help this game the most, like the most bang for buck on this game, is that it needs some sort of like equipment or charm system like Castlevania or Hollow Knight. I think equipment would be more of a pain in the butt because making that work is more moving pieces. Hollow Knight's charm system, obviously, like Hollow Knight has a fairly elaborate, complicated one. I think this game would be greatly helped by a somewhat simpler one that allows the player to have more of a loadout. I am max everything on this game, and that's kind of like the only way to go. Like, there's not a, oh, I'm going to choose for a strength build or whatever. It's no. You've got to get the forms. You've got to get, you know, Helios armor and the Gaia armor and the Poseidon armor. You don't have a choice about that. And so then the only choice beyond that is, well, do I choose to upgrade that at all, because it can have one upgrade, and do I choose to upgrade my health and light bars? But again, those are like one-dimensional. It's like you get 2 health upgrades and you get however much light bar upgrade we got. I honestly can't tell. I want to say like 50% more than the original, but regardless, if this game had like a charm system, and these don't need to be complicated charms, they could be like, hey, just recover health a little bit faster, have 1 more pip of health, 1 more point of damage from your attack, or make your combo go a little bit faster. Like minor tweaks to the numbers that already have to be in the game. A magnet charm. We never got a gathering swarm charm, which feels crazy to me. That we never got anything like that, which is stupid simple code. A magnet code is literally in pseudocode on money update if magnet enabled and distance to player less than threshold, then apply force towards vector of player. Obviously that's pseudocode, but that's almost real code that I just recited to you. Like that's the whole thing. It's all you got to do. In Unity, it's like hops 8 lines of code. So all of it, and it's not like you do not need to worry about scalability of this code. It is code that is doing trivially cheap math and Boolean logic. So, anyways, if we had like a couple dozen charms, just to let the player like sort of express themselves a little bit more, have more of like a loadout that fits to their style, either like strengthening what they're good at or covering up their weaknesses, things that they're bad at. That would make the game feel a lot more like engaging to the player, and it would give you a lot more hide around the world, because like each of these areas has like a red note and 3 blue notes, a piece of the armor upgrade, and a cartographer's journal, and that's it. I guess also technically they might have money, but that's not a lot of stuff to fill your environment with. And they could have a bunch of extra rooms having charms in them, and if the charms occupy slots, then you can have, you know, slot upgrades, sort of capacity increase. Because the first time in Hollow Knight that you get your first charm notch, either buying it from Salubra or finding it from like defeating some enemies in the Fungal Waste or something, oh man, it feels like the world's your oyster. It's such a good feeling, and it makes you want to go explore and find stuff and spend money. Having a vendor that can sell you a couple of mod slots, that'd be huge for this game. That'd really help it feel more rich and interesting and engaging. I did run into some bugs on this playthrough. Like I'm a little weirded out that I have 101% completion on this. I'm not sure what's up with that extra 1%. I definitely saw some weirdness with like the map rendering stuff wrong. We had a boss that we fought twice because I guess it like didn't save totally properly. All of that, it wasn't a bug-free experience, but none of it was like really horrible bugs. It was fine. Here, looking at this is the illustration of what I mean about the paintings being linear. Like, come into the painting, and I think for this painting you're going right ways. I honestly don't remember, but like you come down, get the stuff, and then you go this way. You can optionally go up here, continue out, but like there's a vector there, right? Like you can graph it out. Same thing with the Portrait of Despair. Go up here, then you back down, and then you go back over and up. Very like one-dimensional. And if you're saved here and you want to go back to the entrance, bad. You have to backtrack through the entire thing. Similarly, Portrait of Demise, go up. I think you actually go down first to get the upgrade, and then you go over and all the way through here, and unlock something, and then back all the way through and over. Portrait of Demise worked the best for me, but it still was a little rough around the edges. This part, the weird like Kickstarter portrait thing, felt very strange to me. I'm very confused about there being doors off to the sides. I really don't like that the game booted us out without saving after beating the final boss. That it means that you can never really complete the map, right? Like this room will always be a mystery, even though we know what's in there. We boss, but I don't love that. Another thing that I don't love, I think that this game, this is really just a feature request. This game really needs a gallery. Why isn't there any kind of like, you know, hey, look at the concept art, watch the movies that you unlocked or whatever. Here's a splash screen for beating the game and getting certain achievements. Stuff that I think would, you know, pretty standard rewards. You don't know, like the Shantae games and whatever. Give us a gallery. Reward us for playing your game and like engaging with it and really getting deep into it. Alright, I feel like I'm being entirely too harsh. What are some other things that I want to talk about before we call this series good? I did like the environments. They were cool. Good, solid pixel art style that was very well executed. I enjoyed seeing the little Easter eggs. The blasphemous one being a not subtle example. I do think the game needed a little more exposition about the castle being, which is why the exposition exists. That's why writers keep doing it, right? It was not clear to me what the whole deal of it was with the castle being a creature. Kind of felt like we were dropped in and expected to have seen some cutscenes that I don't think I ever did see. I know that this game has like a animated cutscene, but I've never actually like seen it through because I think maybe my controller is like automatically skipping through it, like just like, you know, misregistering a pressed button that isn't actually pressed. And as you can see from me sitting on this screen, it doesn't like start replaying that. It's kind of good, but also kind of bad. And hey, a gallery would just fix that problem. But yeah. Story, I like the story okay. It wasn't most shocking or whatever. We saw a lot of the stuff coming. Some of the characters were more interesting and some of them were more tropey. Varied. Yeah. 9 Years of Shadows. Overall, I quite liked it. I know that the last several minutes of me talking about it sounds really harsh, but that's me like liking something, and so I'm more critical of it. But overall, good times. Good couple of playthroughs. Couple of long recording sessions to play it all the way through. And yeah, I would definitely recommend this to friends. I know that they're working on another game. I will be following Albert Studios and seeing what they come up with. I hope that they put out this level or higher of game in the future. And with that, that's all from me. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.